Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite JRPG series of all time. From the characters and story, to the combat, to the music. I mean, Yoko Shimomura, you did miracles on me. As well as just those vibes of childlike adventure and wonder, it's absolutely just for me. And given that Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced, wait, that was a year ago? Jesus Christ squared, the masses are starving over here. We need a new trailer, please. Anyway, I was thinking to myself that a replay of the series was in order, but I didn't want to do just any replay of the series. I wanted to challenge myself like the masochist I am, and so I decided that I would level 1 run the entire series starting with Kingdom Hearts 1. And before you ask, yes, I'm playing on Proud mode, which is the hardest difficulty. So sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey. This is how I beat Kingdom Hearts Final Mix at level 1. So before we start anything, for those of you that either haven't played a Kingdom Hearts game before or have just never undertook this challenge, you might be asking yourselves, what is a level 1 run? Well, in the Final Mix versions of these games, they introduce an ability called EXP 0, which as you can imagine, means I get no XP for any enemies I kill. And in this game, locks access to many of the abilities that you get from leveling up. The main two being Scan and Guard, meaning that for the entire game, I had to play it without knowing what any enemy or boss's HP was, and that I had to get through this game off of just pure knowledge, not to mention the fact that I could not block any attack at any given time, and that my only real means of survival was dodge rolling, curing, and using items. But hey, on the bright side, EXP 0 protects me from dying in one hit and can even increase my damage after doing a full combo, so there's that, I guess? May God have mercy on my soul. As the game starts, we equip EXP 0 and we're already met with an important decision right off the bat, as we have to choose between the staff, the sword, and the shield. Not to be confused with the hit game Pokemon Sword and Shield. Because I'm playing at level 1, I choose a staff and prioritize a magic build since magic in Kingdom Hearts 1 is extremely broken, and I give up the shield in return. Now before I continue, I need to make a couple things about this game clear so that we can have a smoother experience here. In Kingdom Hearts, there are these things called revenge values and desperation moves, or DMs for short. Bosses in Kingdom Hearts have these revenge values, some more skewed than others, but they all have them regardless. Essentially, every boss has a predetermined amount of hits that they can take before they retaliate, which is their revenge value, and their DM is a move that they can do once they get to a certain amount of HP. A good example of this is Riku Ansem's Dark Aura, or Ansem 2's Aura of Darkness. Now that we've got that out the way, it's time for the first boss of the game, Darkseid, who I have never lost to in my life, ever. Before the run can really start, we've got to get off Destiny Islands. But not before I show Riku why he has never beaten me a single time in his life, ever. God, I'm so good at this game. After gathering materials for Kairi's Raft, it's time for us to get the Keyblade for the first time and face off with Darkseid again, who's never beaten me a single time in his life. Now that we're in Traverse Town, the run can really begin. We run into Squall from the hit game Final Fantasy VIII, and I beat him first try because I'm simply just like that. And after taking care of some very important business, we head to the 3rd district, meet Donald and Goofy for the first time, beat the guard armor, and acquire not only our first spell and fire, but also dodge roll, which has saved me various times throughout this run, as you'll soon see. From here, we acquire the Gummy Ship, and 3 new worlds open up to us: Wonderland, Olympus Coliseum, and Deep Jungle. You can visit these worlds in any way you want, so to make this run go much smoother, I head to Olympus Coliseum first in order to acquire Thunder, and then leave to take care of Deep Jungle first. Deep Jungle is definitely one of my least favorite worlds in the entire series, but it yields us a very important early game reward and cure. I head to Deep Jungle, and you're probably thinking I was going to do this sliding minigame, but y'all know that ain't happening. Once we get Donald and Goofy back into the party, we head to the treehouse, I hate vine swinging, and eventually we have to save a bunch of gorillas from a series of power wilds, which are actually extremely easy to deal with, given that I got Thunder already. We save the gorillas, deal with this tiger who yields us a White Fang, and now we have to deal with Clayton, who is absolutely built like one of those hosts on the Discovery Channel. Clayton is probably the first real roadblock of this game, but not because of his first phase, but because of his second, where he rides on top of this lizard Heartless and shoots you with his shotgun. But once you can actually get him off the lizard, you can cheese him pretty easily by climbing this rope, waiting for him to jump up to your level, and cheesing him with a series of air combos and thunders. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely fumbled this a couple times, but we're not gonna talk about it. Beating Clayton gives us Cure, we seal the keyhole, get the Jungle King Keyblade, as well as some insightful commentary.
Oh, now I've got it. Means heart.
Now we can head back to Olympus Coliseum, where we enter the tournament and face off with Cloud. Which, side note, this is still one of the coldest designs ever. If you don't like it, you're weird. Like, the tape on the Buster Sword, the wing, the claw, come on. Anyway, we beat Cloud first try. I am just so good at this game. And now we have to take on Cerberus, who I beat by taking advantage of his attack where he tries to bite at you with his 3 heads. After beating Olympus, we head to Wonderland, where we have to find a bunch of evidence, and doing so gives us what is, in my opinion, the GOAT spell of this run, Blizzard. We gather the evidence, deal with the Queen of Hearts guards, and face off with the Trick Master, who's extremely easy due to us having Thunder at this point. After beating the Trick Master and sealing the keyhole, we head back to Traverse Town, where we encounter Riku again. And honestly, I was gonna leave this part out the vid, but this was too funny not to include. Cause look at how Sora hits this pose, bro. You know he thinks he's in an edit for doing this. Like, you know he's about to post a pic of that to his IG and Twitter talking about some, you might be heartless, but I have the key. Like, bro, who are you?
This nigga, bro?
Anyway, after Riku starts to fall into his E-Boy arc, we talk to Sid, meet Merlin, and gain access to the 100-acre wood, as well as getting Simba as our first summon of the game. After that, we ring the bell in the second district 3 times, which means it's time to fight the opposite armor. The guard armor portion of this fight is really easy since you can just parry him by hitting him when he does a spin attack, which leaves him extremely vulnerable for some air combos. The opposite armor portion of this fight wasn't too bad, but definitely tricked me up when he turned into a cannon? But yeah, I just spam Blizzard here, take down the remaining parts of him, and seal the keyhole. With this visit to Traverse Town done, 5 new worlds open up to us. Agrabah, Monstro, Halloween Town, Neverland, and Atlantica. But really, it's more like 4 since I did not do Atlantica at all. Now wait. Before some of you get mad at me for skipping a world, hear me out. Do some of you truly expect me to be Ursula at level 1 with these controls? Y'all know that ain't happening. We head to Agrabah first, save Aladdin, and go deal with the pot centipede, which was way harder at level 1 than I was expecting it to be. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, this fight was some bullshit, but maybe I'm just bad, I don't know. With all that being said, we beat the pot centipede, head to the Cave of Wonders where we gotta beat the darkness out of it, and eventually make it to where Jafar is. Jafar isn't even hard, just extremely tedious since he just runs the entire time. The only attacks you really have to look out for are his laser attack and this ice tornado he does, but besides that, he's just a loser. And since Jafar just got his ass kicked by a 14-year-old, he decides it's a good idea to turn himself into a genie that has no long-range move. Yeah, how's not being able to hit me working out for you, dumbass? Anyway, all you have to do is just attack the lamp and the fight is done. It's honestly kind of sad the pot centipede was harder than Jafar was. Anyway, we dip out the Cave of Wonders and we're rewarded with the 3 Wishes Keyblade, as well as Genie becoming a summon of ours. And you guys are gonna see soon enough why Genie is the GOAT. With Agrabah done, the next world on our list is Monstro, who's just a giant whale. That's it. That's the gimmick. We encounter Riku again, and this world is definitely pretty easy to get lost in if you don't know what you're doing. To get to Chamber 4, which is where you need to go for the story to progress, you need to go to Chamber 2, 3, then back to 2, to Chamber 5, 6, back to Chamber 5, and finally into Chamber 4. The next fight is with the Parasite Cage, which isn't that hard, he just doesn't let you attack that much. We beat the Parasite Cage and we get rewarded with High Jump, which lets us get the Water Gleam. By using High Jump, we head into Monstro's stomach, which, side note, I think it's funny that we're just inside Monstro causing various types of gastrointestinal harm, but you know, anything for the grind. We face off with the Parasite Cage again, and this is where Genie gets his first use. I summon Genie and cast some showtimes on the Parasite Cage. After that, it's a simple process of looping him into doing the same attack over and over until I get the win. With Monstro done, I decided to take a quick detour and go back to Traverse Town and headed back into the 100-acre wood to get the Nature Spark. And by talking to the Fairy Godmother, I was able to get both Dumbo and Bambi as additional summons. With some new summons acquired, we head on over to Halloween Town, one of my favorite worlds in the series. Once we get to Halloween Town, the artificial heart Jack is trying to make it stolen by Oogie Boogie's underlings. Now, before I say anything else, I think it's worth mentioning that Jack was trying to manipulate the Heartless into dancing in a Halloween festival. I don't know why I felt the need to mention this, I just thought it was really funny. After heading over to Oogie Boogie's manor, we're met with Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Which, this fight, oh my god. If there was ever a fight in this game that exposed how Kingdom Hearts 1 is not balanced well enough for a level 1 run, this is it. I hate this. I spent like an hour on this fight, and the run back is just as bad. You have Shock spinning around like a Beyblade, Lock throwing shit at you, and Barrel rolling at you. Like, bro, you are not an Autobot. Optimus is not enlisting you to fight for him. Megatron will flatten your ass. But no way am I gonna let these three little shits be what kills me. The way to beat this fight at level 1 is that you have to get up on the couch and parry Shock as she spins towards you, backing off as Barrel sets up his roll attack. Enough hits and you eventually kill Shock, leaving Lock and Barrel. Same applies to Barrel, and with no one to keep him in long range, Lock has nowhere to go. Fuck them kids. Once we unlock the green door, it's time to face off with Oogie Boogie, who is marginally easier than Lock, Shock, and Barrel were. I was able to kill him within 2 cycles of his dice game by getting a combo on him to increase my damage, doing 2 well-timed showtimes with Genie, and killing him on the 2nd cycle. The only remaining thing we have to do now before we can put a lid on Halloween Town is destroying each of the black orbs protruding from Oogie Boogie. This was another really stupid section which led me to adopting a hit and run strategy on the remaining orbs. Am I proud of it? Not really, but at this point, I'll do anything for these W's, man. Let me cook. Once things are done in Halloween Town, I head back to Traverse Town where I get the Spellbinder from Merlin since I have every spell in the game now. I head into the 100 Acre Wood to get Stopra, as well as heading back to the Olympus Coliseum where I do the Fill Cup to get Gravira. Now, it's time for Neverland, which, despite its name's sake, is not actually the real Neverland and is only just Captain Hook's ship for some reason. Also, Riku is here. He's being stupid.
You're stupid.
Anyway, this is a pretty simple world to complete. Once we maneuver around the ship, it's time to fight Anti-Sora, which is an extremely trolly fight and depends a lot on your RNG. I mean, for me, he spent a whole minute doing this fucking attack from the ground. I hate him. Regardless, I summon Bambi and immediately start lighting him up with fires. And after that, it's time for phase 2 where he can split into 3 of himself. But the basic tactic here is to get a well-timed combo during a stag window and loop him, since in retaliation, he'll teleport into a telegraph slash. Pretty easy fight in theory, but also extremely annoying depending on what RNG you get during the fight. Also, Sora can't hit anyone for shit. After Anti-Sora, we make it outside the ship and have to fight some waves of Heartless, meaning it's time for Simba to shine. I get the first couple of waves done, and once the ship Heartless spawns in, I cast a series of stops and Graviras to finish things up. Now, it's time for Captain Hook. And before I do that, I manipulate the fact you can just leave and come back? I don't know why this was a feature, but shit, I am definitely pussy enough to not want to do that Heartless fight again every single time I die to Hook. Go fuck yourself. Now, Hook himself is actually pretty easy in theory as well, but like Anti-Sora, depends a lot on your RNG. I also died at times because I'm stupid, but in fairness, there's no way you can expect me to remember that I get punished for casting fire on him. Anyway, I get a quick combo in to increase my damage and then summon Genie. I use up all his show times and then immediately summon Dumbo afterwards to take advantage of Hook getting pissed off at me beating his ass. Finally, I summon Bambi for some Blizzard spam and we take the W. Neverland not only gives us a stronger cure, Tinkerbell as a summon, but also Glide, all of which being extremely useful. After wrapping things up in Neverland, we head back to Traverse Town, talk to Sid, and make our way to Hollow Bastion where Riku hits the meanest lick on Sora. I mean, he exposes him for being a fraud, steals his friends, and leaves him with nothing but a wooden sword. Like, god damn, did you need to roast him like that? Also, I felt like I needed to mention this, Riku showed why he is a part of Weave Nation. Anyway, since Riku took the Keyblade from us, we have to rely on Beast for damage, which is way easier said than it is done. From here, I head into the castle gates and immediately drop down and head into the waterway, and after doing this puzzle, we can head into the castle where we take the Keyblade back and square off with Riku, who's officially committed to his E-Boy arc. Now, this first Riku fight is kinda challenging, mainly because Riku's windows for stagger as well as just his overall mechanical structure is kinda bad, but I'm able to get a W after a couple of tries by manipulating him to do his spin move. Completing his first fight nets you the White Trinity, so I take another detour and get all the remaining Dalmatians in the game that I couldn't get before, as well as the Lady Luck Keyblade. From here, we head into the library, complete the book puzzle, and make our way towards the castle chapel and pick up the royal crown along the way. Now the Maleficent fight isn't exactly hard, but can definitely trick you up if you aren't careful, especially at level 1. At the start of the fight, I get a quick combo in on her, cast Gravira on her rock, then summon Genie, who does most of the work after a couple of showtimes, and after a little bit of back and forth, we get it done, causing her to retreat. Now if you've played this game, you know what happens next, as well as just how hard this next fight actually is. Dragon Maleficent was one of the hardest fights of the original game for me, so much so that I basically have the entire scene before the fight memorized because of how many times I had to watch it, because in the original game, you couldn't skip cutscenes. Now what if I told you I did this on the first try? Once the fight opens, I dodge her slam attack, cast stop, double my damage by doing a full combo, and immediately summon Genie, who just completely kicks her ass. Thank you, Genie, you are truly the hero of our times. After just beating the shit out of Dragon Maleficent, we head towards the Grand Hall, where it's time to face off with the bane of my existence, Riku Ansem. Now despite calling him the bane of my existence, I actually quite like this fight since it's someone of your stature fighting on your playing field. Well, mostly. Anyway, I didn't have too much trouble dealing with his attacks, but mainly with timing my hits with his stagger windows. What I did for this fight was that I strafed to the side once he would do his slam attack. Once his hand starts glowing, the fight becomes a little tricky, but the same strategy applies, for the most part. Now, it's his DM, Dark Aura, that makes me say he is the bane of my existence. Fortunately for me, I am good at the game and I can dodge it every single time. I am just like that. With all that said and done, we eked out a W and get back to Traverse Town, where we pick up Mushu from the Fairy Godmother and head back to Hollow Bastion to seal the keyhole. Eventually we make it to the Grand Hall, but not before I had to deal with this regular encounter, which was so hard for no reason. I'm going to lose my mind. Thank you, Simba, for saving my life. Anyway, we head back to the Grand Hall, where I pick up the last of the Dalmatians and get Eruga. And now it's time for the Behemoth. This fight is piss easy, even at level 1. I summon Genie, do a couple of showtimes, cast a couple of Graviras, and attack his horn a couple times. Easy. After all that, we get Firaga from the Princesses of Heart, and we unlock the final world of the game, the end of the world. Not to be confused with the JoJo opening, of course. However, before we do that, I head back into Hollow Bastion to pick up Kiraga from Aerith, as well as taking a quick detour to the Olympus Coliseum, where I do the first section of the Hades Cup to pick up Blizzaga, which in turn nets me the Shiva belt by casting Blizzaga on the fires outside the arena. With all that said and done, we can go beat the game with nothing standing in our way.
Show me your strength.
Sephiroth is without a doubt the hardest boss in Kingdom Hearts 1. His damn near unreactable attacks, unpredictability, mixed in with Sora's lack of mobility and the size of the arena you're thrusted into, and you're looking at a fight that has basically shaved off several years of my life. Also, in this game, Sephiroth's health bar is actually so high that it goes over the limit of what the game can show. Now, if you remember, I can't actually see what his health is at, so quite literally, I am moving off of pure instinct. Call me Goku. Why did I decide to fight Sephiroth at level 1? I'm a masochist. So to kick things off, Sephiroth will start off pretty tame. So preemptively high jumping will help dodge not only his really fast slash attack, but also his attack where he slashes forward, leaving himself open for a punish. Now, actually punishing him, at least for me, was way harder than I care to admit. Because yeah, I don't think I've ever been whiff punished more in anything that wasn't a fighting game. Anyway, doing a quick 4-hit combo will trigger his revenge value, and he can counter in several different ways. He can teleport slash, immediately raise his Firaga wall, or just instantly slash you. What he does is not telegraphed at all. I hate it. And sometimes this bastard will just teleport fire pillars? Like, bro, you're weird! Anyway, once I got past phase 1, he gives you a signal that it's time for phase 2. I immediately get some hits in, and he introduces Heartless Angel, which will take away all your HP and MP if you let it hit. And, yeah, it might have hit me a couple times, but so what? He would just teleport to the edge of the screen. I can't reach him. From here, Sephiroth becomes more mobile as he starts to run, as he starts to take you more seriously. He'll typically do a slash and then teleport, followed up by his telegraph slash, leading for an easy punish. He also introduces Wild Dance, which is actually pretty easy to deal with once you know the timing. That said, I'm bad, so it took me quite a few deaths to fully figure this one out. But basically, you jump over his first set of hits, dodge roll the second and third set, and then do a well-timed parry once he rises into the air to create invincibility frames. This is once again way easier said than done. But once I figured it out, I was able to get phase 2 down to sort of a science. But once phase 2 is down and Sephiroth decides he's had enough with you, he kicks it into phase 3, which is by far the most erratic phase of this fight. Fun fact, you can actually get a really well-timed combo on him once he enters into phase 3. But from here, he summons orbs, he's got this stupid spin attack, he still has Heartless Angel and Wild Dance, and last, but certainly not least, he has his DM, Supernova, which is ironically the easiest of his newest moves to dodge by simply dodge rolling the meteors and dodging into the Supernova once it hits into the ground for some invincibility frames. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I fumbled this phase so many times, but eventually, with some extreme luck and good dodges, I was able to take down the hardest boss in the game at level 1. And I never want to do it again. And since I beat Sephiroth, I think it's only right that I take on the secret boss exclusive to Final Mix, Unknown, which is actually way easier than Sephiroth, which is good for me. To start off the fight, I summon Simba to quickly get Donald and Goofy off the field. The trick to this fight is getting a well-timed gravity on him since this puts him in a stun state, then doing a quick combo to launch him back and quickly casting gravity on him again. He'll typically counter with his electric balls, which you can simply jump over him because of the gravity we just casted. He's once again in a stun state, meaning we can loop him. Now, because I'm bad, I messed this up quite a few times, but eventually I got the timing down to do it well enough pretty consistently. With about 14 to 15 reps, he'll do his DM where he encases himself in like a ball and fires lasers in all directions. Fortunately for me, we have summons. I pop a Mega Elixir after Simba disappears and then immediately summon Genie once Donald and Goofy respawn, which gives me invul from his attack. Once he's done with this, he'll do some red lasers and then this attack where he thinks he's a ballerina or something, but a well-timed gravity out of this attack will put him in that stun state again, and rinse and repeat the tactic from earlier, he's done. Really simple fight. And with that, I conquered both Sephiroth and Unknown at level 1, meaning we can finally head to the last world of the game, the end of the world. Now I know what you're thinking, but what about Kurt Ziza or the Phantom of the Clock Tower? Why didn't you do them?
Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
Listen man, I am not Nomura's strongest soldier. I am not doing either of those guys at level 1, especially the Phantom. Y'all know that ain't happening. Anyway, we head to the end of the world, and a couple easy fights later, we make it to Chernobog, which is an extremely easy fight, even at level 1. Once the fight starts, I do a quick 3-hit combo to increase my damage. Then I immediately fly down because there's actually a surface you can land on in this fight. I quickly summon Mushu before taking any damage, then immediately heal, use Fire Breath, and Chernobog is done. Easy. And with that done, Christ, we reach the hardest room in the game, the Linked Worlds. Anyone that's played this game, both regularly and even at level 1, knows just how bad this room is, and is the best example for why this game is not balanced well enough for a level 1 run. But that doesn't mean we can't beat it. This room throws everything at you, kicking things off with a behemoth, then transitioning into multiple waves featuring dark balls, invisibles, angels, and then has combinations of the 3. This room acts as a testament to not even just your skill, but your luck. Everything needs to go right in order for you to beat the Linked Worlds, but if you can do it, there's nothing stopping you from beating the game. So let's get started. The behemoth is, as always, extremely easy. I summon Bambi and start spamming Gravira. After a while, I dismiss Bambi and strictly adhere to regular combos to build MP. The behemoth goes down, and then the real fight starts. I summon Mushu, take out all but one Dark Ball, and dismiss him so I can get Donald and Goofy back to do my next summon. After the Dark Balls are the Invisibles, which is easily the hardest part of the Linked Worlds to me. After the last Dark Ball, I quickly summon Bambi given that his summon is actually replenished between the Behemoth fight and the rest of the fight. I work on casting Stop on every invisible and do a series of Graviras and stops using some of my elixirs in the process. I got really lucky during my winning portion of the fight, as I was able to kill basically every single invisible during this sequence. I quickly dismiss Bambi, summon Simba, and get ready for the angels. Simba shows his true worth here, as charging up his meter to its most critical point is an instant one-shot. I get the timing right on almost every remaining wave except one, but to course correct, I cast a couple stops and Graviras, and the linked worlds are done. And I never want to talk about it ever again. This shaved off more years of my life than Sephiroth did. I am so serious. With the linked worlds done, it's time to face off against Ansem, beat the game, and end this challenge once and for all. Ansem 1 is pretty simple. I summon Mushu and barrage him with Fire Breath, and once Mushu runs out, I finish off the fight by casting a series of Firagas. Pretty simple. From here, this is where the pain starts. As once we get past this dark side, who I have never lost to in my life, it's time for Ansem 2, which is marginally harder than Ansem 1, given that you don't have Donald and Goofy with you, meaning that you don't have access to any summons. Also, if you die here, which I did several times, you have to fight Darkseid again, which isn't hard, but extremely tedious. This is a FromSoft boss now. There's sort of a rhythm to Ansem 2, and once you get it down, this fight is definitely doable. But like I've been saying, this is way easier said than it is done. But let's begin. The gist of this fight is to attack Ansem enough to the point where he calls his Guardian to protect him, and attacking him from behind, dodging whenever his Guardian swipes at you. There's 3 attacks that you need to look out for: his swipe, submit, and his rush attack, which is the thing that killed me more times than I'd like to admit. But eventually, I got the timing of how to dodge it down, so nothing could stop me, truly. Eventually, Ansem will DM as his Guardian comes from the ground about 10 or so times before Ansem releases a pretty easy to dodge shockwave, and it's actually possible to hit him during the last couple frames of his animation. The remainder of this fight is really just me looking out for his tackle, him DMing again, as well as just any attacks that can let me get some real hits on him. And eventually, after a full hour, we eked out a W. And now, there's one last thing left to do. The World of Chaos. God, it just doesn't end, does it? For lack of a better term, Ansem 3 had me in the fucking abyss for like 2 hours, mainly because of these dumb-ass lasers and me not knowing what his health is at. I think this also really exposes the problem of not having scan, because I can't tell when to take a risk on him. But regardless, I did figure it out, because the strat here is to really just cast a series of Firagas and kind of just hope for the best. Once I defeated Ansem 3, the rest of the World of Chaos is actually not that tough. We take down his laser shooters, abuse dying to regain MP, free Donald and Goofy, and eventually take on Ansem 4, where he gains access to his DM, Great Darkness, which is literally the easiest move to dodge in the game because you simply just go behind him and it can't hit you. Anyway, here, I light his ass up with some Firagas after abusing death, use a Mega Elixir to revive Donald and Goofy, summon Mushu, get a couple more hits in, and he's done. And that's the game. This level 1 run of Kingdom Hearts 1 made me angry, and I mean viscerally angry. Sora just completely whiffing his hits at times, some fights just being completely unfair and not balanced well enough for Sora to take only 2 hits at a time, etc. And yet, despite all of that, I still love Kingdom Hearts 1. It's the foundation for the series and what it will become in the future, and the second simple and clean hits and that Square Enix CG shows itself, it made all that pain, all that frustration and agony feel worth it, because at the end of the day, I beat the game at level 1. I mean, except the Link Worlds, that was not worth it, but everything else was. This was an extremely difficult challenge, mainly towards the end game, and one I don't think it can ever attempt again. But at the very least, I can say that I beat Kingdom Hearts Final Mix at level 1. Thank you guys for watching. Also, remember when I said that I wanted to level 1 run the whole series way at the beginning of this video? Well, this was just one game. Depending on how this video does, this won't be the last you'll see in Kingdom Hearts from me, because we've got 6 games left to do this challenge with. Why do I hate myself again?